right, this is the Committee on Legislative Affairs and Elections. This is Monday, November 19th, 2018. We're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor Capone.
Here.
I have Councilor Simonelli. And I have Councilor Hill. We do have 3 members present. We do have a quorum.
3 members present. We have a quorum. Please stand and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll have the clerk read the first item of business.
All right, the first piece of business is the order offered by Council Peter Napolitano as president that the Committee on Legislative Affairs update the City Council rules.
All right. Has everybody received the copy of that packet that had all the information on it? Okay, that's not going to take it too far. All right. So, as you know, over the course of apparently 7 sessions, we've put all kinds of draft language into the rules, some updates. All right, so the members, Steve, do you have one of them? No? No? All right. Yeah, there was a final that went out. Yeah, I emailed out one as well. But yeah, that's okay. What we can do is maybe we can lay this on the table until our assistant can get a copy to everybody out here.
Yeah, actually, I have a place to go right now.
Good. Okay. All right. So.
Well,
Yeah.
hoping everything, yeah.
All right. So Chair will entertain a motion to.
Nobody had anything.
Yeah. Okay. I have too much with me. Okay. Sounds good. Second. Moved and second to postpone till later in the meeting. All in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read the second item of business.
All right. Item number 2 is a resolution held by Council Frank Capone that the Committee on Legislative Affairs review the current rules and the legislative code with regard to the conduct of city council members and its employees.
All right. Do the members have a copy of this as well?
I don't have anything.
Okay. All right. So why don't we do the same thing with this? Does the chair entertain a motion to postpone?
Is it in the works, John?
No, I thought everybody had a copy of this one, but I can make a copy of something on sheet. This is the
Right.
sheet.
Yeah, and then there were the other changes that were made on this one. Right. Yeah. There's a handful of changes, but that's the. Oh, yeah. But I don't think there's anything else yet.
Those were totally just like.
Yeah, a word here, word there, type of thing. But that's the only real substantive thing.
Right.
Okay, yeah. All right. So we'll put that toward the tail end and we'll figure that out, so. All right, Council, you had a motion to postpone that till the end of the meeting?
Next
Till later? No, later in the meeting. The
Motion
electric
that we
code.
postpone this item until the end of this meeting.
Okay, and Steve, got a second? Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read item number 3.
Item number 3. This is an ordinance offered by the entire city council to prohibit any contractor from obtaining any contracts or permits from the city of Everett while a public contracted project they are working on for the city is either delayed, unfinished, or over contracted budget.
All right.
Chairman, is this from a work study thing that we did? Or was this from the last meeting?
Is that one dated for tonight?
Do we have a work study on this?
No, that's
No, we
not a
didn't.
work study. That's actually the agenda.
Result of the last
If
meeting?
that one's dated for the 19th, that's for tonight. So with this one, the membership will remember there was a draft ordinance that was put together, and we requested input from the city solicitor. She did come up here. She was not feeling well. She was feeling ill all day. So she did respond to it in writing.
Oh,
So,
tonight?
yeah, she did respond to it in writing. And what I'm inclined to do, if you want to hear her response, you can, or you can read it later. I think we need to take another look at it. So on this one, I'd request further time.
Make a motion for further time and a copy of that be given to each member of the committee.
Second? Moving second, grant further time with a copy given to each member.
Copy.
Yeah.
I was
Oh, it's right there, beautiful. So make sure everyone has it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Item number 2.
All right, so then we have item number 4.
Right. And item number 4, this is a resolution by Council Frank Capone in order for an open area storage of salt and other items.
All right, on this one, I believe our city clerk has a final version. There's a question about fees and storages. I know he was here 2 seconds ago.
He said he would.
Okay. Why don't we hold this one over till our city clerk gets here? So if there's a motion to that extent?
Where?
Hold this over until our city clerk gets here.
Okay, make a motion, Mr. Chairman,
It's
that
been
we
seconded?
postpone this until the city clerk appears.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk, is number 5 an error? Should that be on here?
Shouldn't be, it should actually be in traffic.
Okay, so no action necessary on number 5?
Well, you still have to make a motion.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and read
Yeah.
number 5 then, please?
Item number 5, this is a resolution up by Michael McLaughlin, that the pocket clerk appear at this meeting, but it was referred from that meeting to this meeting, from government hubs.
Okay, so the proper motion, I believe, is to send it to the body with a recommendation that it be referred to Traffic Commission.
This is item number 5.
Item number 5.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that item number 5 be referred to the Traffic Commission and to report back to us, or be report back to the council. What do you want?
Should go.
Probably the council.
Council-
Yeah, the sponsor,
And
probably.
report back to the city council.
Okay, very good. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to recommend that this be referred to Traffic Commission with a response back to the council. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, item number 6.
Item number 6, this is a resolution up by Council Peter Napolitano as president, that the city council rules be changed to prohibit any new business items on the regular agenda from being addressed after 11 p.m. These items will be addressed on the following evening at a continued meeting.
Okay, and it appears that at one of our work sessions, it was agreed not to accept the rule and recommend it be referred back to sponsors. So I'd leave it to the membership.
I really don't want to do that because I'm opposed to this 100%. I want to.
Yeah, it's going back to sponsors saying,
Oh,
you don't want it, yeah, yeah.
A motion then to refer this back, who's the sponsor? Oh, Peter Napoli,
Yeah.
President? Make it refer back to the councilor, saying that,
Just refer back to
We're not
sponsor.
involved,
Yeah,
okay.
not. Do we have a second? It's been moved and second to recommend it be referred back to sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read item number 7.
Right, item number 7, this is a resolution also up by Council Peter Napolitano as president, that a celebrations committee be added to coordinate celebratory events throughout the year.
I think this is likewise the feeling on this,
Now,
was
are
refers
these
back to sponsor.
Celebration committees, is this, is he interested in all celebrations in the city or just stuff that involves the city council?
This is actually an item that was already voted on,
Yeah.
and it was recommended that it be voted to be referred.
Refer back to sponsor.
Yeah,
You what?
It was to establish, I think it was to establish a separate budget for celebrations under the council budget.
I think he was just looking for actually participation, because you do not have any
Yeah,
budget,
yeah,
celebration budget.
so,
Does it need a budget?
If you're gonna be doing celebrations, or gonna have a committee, you would need to have a
Oh,
budget. You don't
okay,
have-
yeah, I recall this. And what we did is we figured it was on the president to get participation of the
Mr. Chairman.
members. Counselor?
Through you, Councilman Simonelli. In the past, there was a celebration committee. It had no budget, but they was always informed and involved and tit for tat, and they worked together pretty good. The idea of a budget's great, but if you
Well,
remember,
the celebration committee did have a budget.
we did.
Yeah,
I apologize.
yeah.
Well, there you go then.
But-
So the recommendation might be to, get some kind of money into the celebrations committee for the council. First, we gotta have a committee, no?
Yeah, well, I think that was the question was whether or not to establish one. And in the work session, yeah, in the work session, it was recommended to refer back to sponsor. But I don't know if there's a change of opinion on
Well,
it, but,
should we send this off to the mayor? I mean, would he be in favor of, I mean, he's the one that's gonna give us the money. You know, would that be, would it be part of the city council budget?
I think the issue was about mandating city employees to participate.
Yeah, voluntary versus mandatory, okay. And I think the discussion, if I remember correctly, I think the discussion of the membership was that it shouldn't be mandatory, that if any individuals wanted to participate, they could. And I think we were leaving it on the shoulders of whoever the president was that year to contact the members and get them involved in different things, rather than a standing committee, but it's up to the membership what you want to do.
So are we going to have a committee or not? No committee?
I think the recommendation was to refer it back and then just get participation to the president.
So moved.
Okay, moved and seconded to refer back to sponsor, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, so that leaves us with 3 items to talk about. Okay, okay, that'd be great. I appreciate that. All right, well, our clerk is making a copy of some of those things. The rule changes, as you know, there are a lot of rules, so there were a lot of changes over the course of time. We met how many dates, but you should have a copy of that in front of you, so we can go through and make sure that everybody's comfortable with them
That John has a-
before they go. I think that Mike is doing that now, just to make sure that we're comfortable with what goes out to the membership, and then the membership will look it over, and then when it comes time to vote, they'll know what we did. So that's that. Then the legislative code, there were some things that were smaller in nature. There was one thing that was substantial in nature, and that was a recommendation that I put in for rules of conduct. And, thank you. And the only reason being is that you may recall that there was an administrative code that was put in place, and we were specifically exempted out. We requested to be specifically exempted out. And because of that, I think we have to have something. It's pretty straightforward. I think we all understand it anyway, but just to have something in play, I think we need to, because we removed ourselves from the overall administrative code. So that's why I suggested that, but we can take a peek at that. Oh, beautiful. Okay, thank you. Okay. What we did is... Yeah, I just talked about it real quick, and John's passing it around now. And then as far as the bulk storage thing, we kind of laid it on the table, so
Okay.
whenever you're ready, you let me know, and,
At least they can review
Okay.
the actual piece that we originally had,
okay, beautiful.
that we wanted, you know?
Oh, I got a thing from Colleen about the...
That's about the other
Yeah.
thing.
All right, so, well, are you ready to go, or?
Whatever you need from me.
If you're, oh, okay, should we take the piece back that dealt with the clerk, which was, which was the bulk storage?
Yep.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to pull that item back. It is number 4. Second? It's been moved and second to take item number 4 back before us, and our city clerk is here. So, Mr. Clerk, as you know, we had made some, well, this is a new ordinance.
Right.
And I know that because it's a new ordinance, we have some questions.
Correct, yeah,
So why don't I
absolutely.
let
So did
you
I.
fill in the membership where
Yeah.
we're at?
So, this was obviously new to us, not only to the city, but there are no cities like us that have this. Other cities zone it out of their city. We were looking to do something different. We wanted to license them, and that's fine. So, for me, it was a, you know, a lot of times I looked to other communities to try to get some help. I couldn't do that. So this was like a from-scratch ordinance. We kind of used, what's the most similar one? I would say flammables, because that's based off capacity. So I figured that was the best thing I could use that was semi-similar, right? So that's what we did. We had to figure out what the minimum cubic yards we wanted to license. So from our talks with one of the colleagues on the council who are in the construction field, about a dump truck is about 17 cubic yards. So times that by 3 is 51, so we'll say 50 cubic yards. 3 truckloads should be the minimum, is how we assessed it. That's a fair amount. Anything less than that should, we don't need a storage license. Anything over that, you need some type of licensing. There's going to be requirements from the Board of Health also. So originally, it looked like it was going to be a license on the Board of Health. The City Council wanted to retain the licensing because almost all licensing is done through my office and through you. So that's what we decided. We changed it from Board of Health to City Council, but they still need the Board of Health sign-off, the building sign-off, the fire department sign-off, and we call it a good standing sign-off, which is make sure your taxes are paid. So those are like, the 3 out of the 4 are general. The Board of Health, we stick in when we feel like there's some type of potential health hazard, right? So anything with lodging, food, and this would be a health hazard because there could be debris, dust, it could be near our waterways, which would affect us and could affect our, the public's health. So we decided that the Board of Health should also be involved on sign-offs.
Don't worry about it.
So, it's a very basic ordinance right now. We can make it as big or as small as you like it. I like to keep things kind of simple because when we write too much, sometimes, you kind of overwrite the ordinance and they start finding loopholes. So I feel like keeping it simple, basic, is the best way. Maybe there could be a little bit more. Generally, this license is going to be like many of our licenses. It will be initially approved by you, maybe through a public hearing process also. You'll give the initial license, and I will give all renewals that are pretty much routine, right? So if they don't change the ownership, if they don't make any major changes, then I will continue to license them as long as they're in good standing with the city, like I do with the majority of our licenses. Very few come back before you, and I believe this one shouldn't either. I think it makes most sense. So, it's before you. You don't have to vote on it tonight. You can review it more in depth. It's up to you. There is no, also, just so you know, my biggest issue is me trying to figure out how to create a fee. Because
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. I'm usually pretty good about basic fees. I look at other communities, like I said, that helps me. Here, I have no guidance.
Okay.
And I don't know, how do I license a capacity of someone that wants to put, how much sand can they put on their property? And
Yeah.
how do I go about that? So I can come up with something which is very basic, which is maybe a quick little 2-3 tier thing where it's $500, $1,500, $3,000, right? And that I can handle myself. But if you want to go more into the nitty-gritty and more
Yep.
in depth, I need help. I
Sure.
won't lie to you. I don't know
Yeah.
enough about this, and I don't want to create something that could be detrimental to a business either. So
Yeah.
I feel that if you wanted to do something like that, I would need someone, a consultant, nothing crazy, but I would need your approval to hire someone to help me, that has expertise, because I don't want to create something that would be detrimental either. I can
Okay.
create whatever I want, but that doesn't mean it's right.
All right.
So I might need some help, that's all.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Counselor?
Maybe we should come up with a height control, width control.
That's what I was
I
thinking.
don't know if that's
Yeah,
what we're thinking, but.
yeah, I think it is. And then,
There's the spillage, when you talk about spillage, it has to be barrier. Just the soil, but barrier.
yeah,
I don't know. if
So that's kind of why the Board of Health will be involved,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe our planning department, our planning has the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
They would probably be somewhat involved, or at least to check, especially if it's near waterways.
Yeah, I'm thinking the height of the, whatever it is, what about residents on the other side?
Correct,
You know?
correct. Yeah, we want to, so that's what I'm confused at. I just,
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. How wide, how high?
Yeah.
What do you constitute, what's appropriate, right?
Sure.
And every area is probably different too. Don't forget, if we're in a residential neighborhood, maybe there's nothing, or, just temporary ones. But then if you're in the industrial area where it's all commercial, how high do we care to go up, right? They're in the setback, they're out of the way of residents, they're all near in industry. What is our requirements? That's where I'm a little bit lost.
okay.
So I feel like I need a little help, either through the council, a little
Yeah.
guidance, if you guys know what you'd like, or if you could think about it, or to have someone that I can hire that might have an expertise in this.
Do you think that we might be able to lean on in-house, like the
Yeah,
engineer?
I can talk to Greg a little bit.
yeah.
I did mention it to
Okay.
Greg, I'm sorry, I use his first name, the director of the DPW and engineering. So, again, this is new to everyone.
Sure.
So he was trying to help me a little bit, but even he was a little confused on exactly what we were looking for. So
Okay.
maybe if we had a little better idea of what we want, width, height, things like that, then if I brought that to him, maybe
Okay.
he can help me.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just looking for a little guidance. I don't want to create this
Sure.
myself because this is something that you
Yeah.
guys want, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I just want a little guidance, and then I'll go forward with
Yeah,
whatever
no,
you want.
It makes perfect sense. Any questions from the membership?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Counsel.
You know, I don't know if anyone realizes how big 50 cubic yards is.
It's 3 tractor-trailer dumps, 3 dump trucks, like 8-wheel, 10-wheel dumps. That's what it is.
Okay.
I-
I
that's-
bought, just so you know, I bought 250 cubic yards of, I guess you call it road dirt. You know, it's dirt and stones and stuff like that, and I wanted it to fill. And about the length of the guardrail, and it was on an edge and everything, and I wanted to expand the edge back to the back of the hall. We dumped it, and I don't even think we moved it out a foot.
Wow.
So like 250 yards, cubic yards, is not that much. I mean, a backhoe, if you take a backhoe and get a bucket and dump it over here, it's not gonna be a big pile, but that's a cubic yard. That thing's a yard, you know, so 50 of those, and you know, the higher you go, the more it spreads out.
Right.
And, you know, and I thought I was gonna have enough to cover the moon. But, you know, I mean, that's a lot of yards, 250 cubic yards, you know? And it didn't amount to a hill of beans. So this is what I'm saying, you know, how much is, you know, if you want to stack it in a pile and it could go up as far as it can go, it might reach your way up, but, you know, when it spreads out, it keeps spreading out.
Are you all set, Counsel?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm just saying I'm not
Yeah, sure.
happy with 50 cubic yards.
Okay.
That may be a thought, especially if it's something like salt that melts in the rain, this, that, and the other thing, the silo.
Yeah.
We do it for concrete and other materials. If they're looking for, say they need the number 17, and we can only let them go up to number 15. Well, if they built a silo type of thing, they could go up to 17, maybe 18, 19.
Yeah.
So, you know, it depends upon, like
Yeah.
you said, the higher you go, the more width you need. If their property's only this big and they want to go that high, they don't
Yeah.
have the width, maybe the height could be, in reality, a silo, not the cement concrete type where it would be expensive, but just a protector.
Okay.
Protector.
I would think to assist our clerk, then maybe if nothing else, in the interim, we should be reaching out to some folks in-house, like the city engineer or something like that.
Go to, even to the new company that came in and say, how many cubic yards you got in that pile? You
Yeah.
know, and they would know. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they would know.
We could reach out and ask them, let them know what we're looking to do.
2 piles there, yeah.
Sure.
But,
Okay. So we have more questions. So what's the favorite phrase for the time?
yeah, you know, by the way, the audience,
Just have to remember that more than,
It's going to turn into a new committee.
you're gonna have only one more meeting.
Yeah.
And whatever recommendation you do get, it'll go to that last meeting in December.
Okay.
Which is a couple of days after.
All right. So we're-
After that, you're gonna have a new.
we'll have a new
yeah,
committee.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want
And as
it's a good
the,
audience, by the way.
yeah, oh, thank you. As one of the pushing sponsors on it, I'll take the responsibility of making phone calls and contacts along with the
I mean,
clerk
I'm
and see what we can.
going to help you.
so we
I'm
can-
not, I don't
Yeah.
want to put it all
No,
on you.
absolutely.
That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
pass it to you, you
You
know
just-
that.
yeah, exactly. You
I'm
just
just
want
looking for
some
some guidance,
guidance.
because if.
Exactly.
I mean,
So-
I can go as crazy as you want, but I mean, I don't know what you want. I don't want to write something that
Yeah.
is too convoluted.
No,
and
absolutely.
It's too
And-
much
and
also.
It may turn out that where this is so brand new, it might be a trial and error, where we start with something simple, and then along the way we go, oh, we need to do that, or
Yeah.
geez, we need to pull in on that. And that might be the way it comes down. So, Counselor?
You may want to think about that for a moment. If we charge the the property owner $1,500 this year for a license, and then realized we were far too high, or worse than that, far too low,
Yeah,
we should have got 30,000. I mean, it's something that
yeah,
better for to go a little high, I think,
yeah. You can't get it back.
than a low. I think that's
Absolutely.
where the fear is. You don't know how much to charge.
Sure.
You don't have any formula.
I have
Sure.
nothing, yeah.
There's nothing
Okay.
there, so
What's
it's,
your
you know,
schedule tomorrow?
I'm free. Well, I'll be in the building.
Yeah, you're never free.
So,
How about 8
if,
8 a.m.?
are there any other questions on this piece?
Yeah, we'll go someplace. All right,
Any other questions?
we're gonna take a run, and we're gonna.
Beautiful.
find out
Field
what
trip.
size pile
Sounds
we're
good.
looking
Excellent.
I
So,
got a permission slip already signed.
I think we're probably in a position where we're looking for further time on this one, and we'll try to do everything we can to lock it down next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
All right, great. So, so is that in the motion?
Motion is to refer it to the city clerk and a helper, and we'll
Okay.
go and we'll try to find out the size that we need.
Beautiful. You got a second?
Second.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
No, we're granting further time, but
Yes.
we're going to, in the interim, we'll have,
Next meeting.
all right, so I think our legislative aide had passed out copies of the rules. Oh, okay. All right, so, I think someone can have mine, because I have it. Make sure this matches.
Oh, this is Vin's order. We're done with that, right?
Okay. Okay, good, good. All right, I already saw a couple of these before, so.
Did everyone see my email? Sorry,
Yeah.
we're on the rules, right? So I don't
Yep.
want to.
Yep.
Did you already take it
I think
up?
the members are still waiting for a copy from.
Okay, so that's why I just wanted to see if,
This here?
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, does everyone have the legislative code in front of them?
I don't, but I know it's on there. I mean,
All right, so let me just move this over here while we're waiting for the rules to be printed up for the other members. There was there were some smaller things that we discussed along the way with the legislative code.
Yes.
But the biggest thing of substance, I think, was that rules of conduct.
Correct.
And the thought process there was the administration had put in rules of conduct, and we exempted ourselves as the legislative branch, because we really couldn't all be under the same umbrella. It's a separate branch. So I thought that we needed something, and what you see in front of you is just a very vanilla guideline that I don't think there should be any issues, but I leave it to the members to see if there's anything there that there might be any questions about. Are there any questions about,
Just the last line, posting or entries made via social media, postings or entries made by who?
by the individual?
But you should say it.
Yeah.
By a city council member.
Okay. Postings or entries, no, that's a good point. Posting entries made probably by members via
A
social?
member, or, you know.
By a member, okay. By any
Any
member.
member, yeah.
That's even better, okay. I think that's a good, yeah, it's a good amendment. Posting entries made by any member via social media should constitute public comments.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah,
Oh, so make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have a second?
do you have a second for that motion? It's just,
Moved and second to amend, to change that last line. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The
Okay.
ayes have it.
Move favorable action on the thing as amended and refer it to the city council.
Okay. Sure. Why don't you go ahead and do that, because I think the members only got the rules of conduct. I don't know if they got the full.
So when I
Oh, no.
emailed it, the whole thing, anything that was highlighted in yellow was added. So there were three parts. The part that you had, which was the rules of conduct, which is
Mhm.
the middle, the first part, which after the word officers, I wrote EPA
Employees.
just so you know, because they're referenced both ways, and I didn't want to say, oh, officers need you, the city council officers
Mhm.
specifically. It's just so you know that officers and employees are in the combined. They mean the same thing. And then the third part was, originally when we wrote this, obviously, the whole point was to separate.
so the whole point was to separate the city council from the rest of the city, right? Because the city council and your staff are different, in a sense that you hire us, the mayor hires everyone else. So he has an admin code which governs his employees, now you have a legislative code that governs your employees. And we did the salaries, we did sick time, vacation time, everything like that. And the only thing I omitted when I wrote it I realized was a personal time, which all it was taken directly from the union contract, which every other employee in the city gets, and that was added in there. That was the only thing that I forgot, because I didn't think about it, wasn't important. But just so that everything is completely separate now,
Right.
the mayor's staff, even though we do get pretty much the same benefits, it's clearly marked in ours that this is what we receive, and you govern it and his is governed by his own personnel department and procedures and policies. So that's the only thing that was added. I just wanted you to know that was the other part of the
Yep.
addition, and I know Mr. Capone and I had discussed it at the prior meeting, and I feel like I mentioned it to everybody. That was the only other part that we were looking at changing. It was an amendment that we needed.
There were other smaller things, like code throughout was supposed to be capital. There's a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of really little
But
things,
anything
but,
like that,
yeah.
just so you know, I have the legal right as city clerk to change anything that is non-substantive, and that is not going to change the intent. I can add a capital letter here and there. I can add an and or an is if it doesn't change the intent of the piece. If something was wrote is and it's supposed to be are, I can do that. The state law allows me, and so does the city charter and ordinances.
Okay.
So I have that authority. So if there's anything like that, we can change without changing it as major amendments. The major ones were those three pieces.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you feel comfortable with them before you
Oh,
vote
thank
on them. You obviously know this one. The other one was the AKA, which is very simple.
Yep.
And the personal time is just 24 hours a year, which is what's given to all employees.
The other thing that was discussed, and I don't want to discuss it if the members don't have a copy of the full legislative code in front of them, but there was, is that the code or is that the rules?
That's the rules.
Those are the rules? Okay. Because one of the things that was under the code was that the salary was going to be ordered by the president, and when we were talking about it before, recommended that it be ordered by the council. It shouldn't be down to one person, it should be the council, and it would be a two-thirds vote. But why don't we wait for the folks to get that, and we can kind of go
Yeah,
through
so
those
that's
things.
anything above and beyond the budgeted amount.
Right.
So it's set in the budget by you guys, so the president just signs off on the ad change form or whatever you budgeted. But anything above and beyond, you do. Anything that has to be
Right.
above and beyond the budget does have to come to you, no matter what. So I don't know if we omitted it because no matter what law says that it has to do that. The
Okay.
president does not have the authority solely to issue the salary, only to sign off on the ad changes as you've passed in the budget. Does that
Okay.
make sense, right,
Yeah.
Clerk Burley? Correct? So could be why, you can always add it, but the law does not allow it anyway.
So, Council Simonelli, did you get a copy of the rules or not yet? Is it still cooking?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so
Yeah.
why don't we go to that part? I think it was number 1. So we had number 1 was on the table, so we'll take that back before us.
All right, so what are we doing with this?
Oh, yeah, we're
Yeah,
still
that's
dealing with
before
that. So, was there favorable action on that, as amended,
Right.
the legislative code? Okay.
And you
Do we have a
said-
second?
Jan, you get a copy to everybody.
Yeah, so I'll re-email it, but
Okay.
I have it with the highlights.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the entire, since this is gonna be on the regular agenda.
Oh, the whole code?
Yeah.
And I'll have those pieces highlighted. I'll do the same thing.
The membership, everybody before Monday,
I'll give you a paper copy
We'll
tomorrow.
get it.
Not a problem.
so, yeah, so everybody before Monday night, this is
All right.
something.
Let me write that.
So where are we now?
We still have legislative code in front of us.
Yeah,
and
the
I guess
motion
Once
was-
we have that, then we'll refer it out favorably as amended. So I think that's where we're at.
You know,
Okay.
it's always true, you know, if we have a problem with something we do wrong, we can always change it.
Oh, sure. You can always bring it up that night on the floor and do it. So the motion on the floor is to refer out as amended for favorable action.
Right, yeah, favorable action, back to the
Okay,
council.
and we got a second? All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. You have so referred. And now we're back with the rules. That's item number 1. All right, so I guess the best thing to do is kind of go page by page and make sure everyone's comfortable with the changes. This is the full rules one, Council Hamlin? Yep, that part right there. All right, so I think the first thing we have is just the outline of the rules. So we move to page 1. And it looks like G and H, the language in G and H. Are there any issues with that?
We've already gone through.
Yeah, we've gone through all
This
these.
is just-
Yeah, just to make sure that everyone's comfortable with what we ended up doing. So this should actually, I mean, we did it in piecemeal over a course of a series of meetings, but this is the first time we're looking at everything together. So when you look at this, nothing should be a surprise. It should be, oh yeah, I remember that. But if there is something that surprises you, then This is the time to talk about it before we send it out to the general body. Any questions with page 2? The language you see on page 2? How about page 3? And as we go along, throw your hand in the air if you see something that you have a question about. So we're looking at page 3. Page 4. Page 5. It does not look like anything was changed on page 6. That brings us to page 7. Page 8.
Chairman?
Yep, Counselor?
Say 7, Rule
Yes.
7-2.
Yep.
Order of business. It says public hearings if posted. And what I'm thinking about is, I guess I'm thinking of public participation.
Yeah, that's underneath it.
I know I see that, I'm just seeing it now. But I was just thinking about when we have somebody come, the gas company come before us, and they explain the thing, and then we say, okay, let's have it open for public hearing.
Yep.
Is that include, well, that would be posted, wouldn't it?
That would fall under public hearing,
That
yeah.
would've
That would have been
anyway,
posted,
So
yeah.
what can I think of, we have a public hearing that's not posted?
It has to be.
Oh,
Yeah, it has to be advertised, or we can't have a
I
public
mean,
hearing.
have we ever had one in here where we have a public hearing without it being posted?
No, you can't. Under the open meeting laws, you have to have, if there's going to be a public hearing, there has to be notice out there. So it wouldn't happen.
Can people come before us without having a public hearing? Can we call someone? Yeah, we can call someone before us, right?
Yeah, I think that in a,
I mean, if somebody wanted to speak before us,
yep,
they can't unless we invite them before us.
correct.
I
Other than the
guess
public.
that'll cover it, okay.
Okay. All right, so it takes us to page 8.
Yeah, it's not in these ones. Oh, okay. 4L.
All right. How about page 9? All right, there were no changes on page 10.
Hold on, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman,
I'm
still on
sorry.
page 9.
On 9?
Yeah, if you would.
Okay, stay on 9.
I didn't either. I done specifically said so.
Okay.
Okay, page 10.
There were no
all
changes
set.
on 10,
Yeah, okay.
so that brings us to 11.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Counsel.
through you, Councilman Simonelli. On the, each formal session of the city council shall include a period of public participation not to exceed
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know how you enforce that, especially if one of the council members or the entire city council is being attacked, and the president or whoever's in this body lets those people continue on with the barragement of madness.
Yeah.
So the 10-minute rule here and last time is really a farce, unless at some point we have a position where we don't let the participation dictate the council meeting, whether it be good for us or bad for us.
Yeah.
Is what was written should be written
Yeah.
and should be enforced.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes in the charter, and really, it's on the president to keep track of how many
Okay.
speakers, how much they're going to speak per, and to let the individual know that either they've gone over their time,
Right.
or that's it. It's really on our president.
So then a council member would not be out of order if he rose and asked the president to stop the participation because of the 10-minute rule? Is that the idea?
Well,
How
technically,
this
yeah.
is written?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and I try to, I don't know if you know,
Yeah, it would
Right.
be a point of order, saying that we've exceeded the rule. Yeah. So there is a little bit of a safeguard there,
Because
but,
sometimes I see it negative and sometimes I see it positive.
sure. We always like to hear the positive.
I love it when it's positive, but that's my point.
Yeah.
You let the one side do it when it's good,
Right,
you know.
Right.
You gotta let the other side do it, too.
Yeah, and then at every meeting we have, that's the president and the clerk, they determine how many people
And we
wanted
divvy
to
it up.
speak at the public portion of it.
That's what I
And then at that point, they divvy up the 10 minutes. And if you have the large crowd, that's where the request is made that you have a spokesperson.
Correct.
And then before everyone starts speaking, they know how much time they have. And then it's really up to the president with the assistance of the clerk to kind of keep the speakers on track with time. But let's say the president and the clerk are asleep at the wheel, like you say. It would be totally proper
Proper, right.
for a member to say, point of order, the individual has spoken for 5 minutes, we allotted a minute and a half per person. And then the
Yeah,
president
and I
says,
don't want
oh,
the
you're right.
participants to get angry,
Yeah.
with stopping them.
Yeah,
You also have to remember that this is a rule.
which can
The
be
rule can be
suspended.
suspended.
If it's allowed, this one's allowed to be suspended.
If there's a large group of people, you could probably do an additional,
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
you
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
usually.
And we've done it
Yeah.
twice, we've
Yeah,
extended it.
if it's an issue that's significant enough that we want to hear from more folks, we could suspend the rules and open it up. You know, put a time frame on additional time or something of that nature, but,
Does this fall in when the category, when you bring district gas or somebody up, they're trying to give us a presentation, we're on a 10-minute rule, that's the end of the...
oh, no, this is just public participation.
Not a
Yeah.
public hearing, that's different.
When we talk about this, Mr. Chairman, if we look at like items G through K, just quickly, this where it says all the things that we have to, I mean, they have to do.
Right,
You know, maybe what we should do is to post this, and we know that there's gonna be a big group coming up, post it up on the board here,
yeah,
so that when someone says something, you can stop them and say, you know, you didn't read section I. When section I says you can't use public participation for political purposes.
Sure.
Or against, it doesn't say
Sure.
that, but it's for political purposes. And point that out to them, and they can't talk about that, you know?
Yeah. Have we posted that or no? I thought we
These
did at one
rules?
point, yeah,
They're posted right there.
right there.
And when
So-
we amend these,
Yeah.
once this is passed, I will take
Okay.
that one out
This is
and
up
put
here?
it with the new one.
Okay, good.
By ordinance, by order, it says that, we have to post
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
So we always post them, and they're always there.
And it's probably good the president just reminds everyone who's speaking
Yeah,
to
right.
make sure you've read
And
that.
that's why we leave it there,
because
it's where
there's your
you sign
guideline.
in. We
Yeah.
put it there specifically because it's where you sign in.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else on page 11? If not, we'll go to page 12. Page 13. Page 14.
hold on.
Yep. Still on 13.
Just the presentations made at regular, I'm sorry, for special meetings.
Yep.
Uh,
So paragraph
Said
2A2.
copies should be provided for each member not less than 48 hours before the special meeting, along with notification and so forth. How is that going to be done?
I think we do it by mail. Is
Can you
what
repeat that
Mr.
one?
Mr.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's Rule 11A.
Presentations?
Number 2.
Yeah,
For special meetings, said copy shall be provided to each member no less than 48 hours before the special meeting. I just want to know how.
Is that typically mail?
so, well, you know, is this a presentation? So most of the people that, we haven't been getting them prior to meetings, so we really want to start making sure this rule's in effect, because you want some time to review it prior to that night. Most likely going to be electronic. We'll try
Okay.
to give it by hand. Don't forget, starting at the beginning of the year, your tablets are going live. So
Okay.
those tablets, your legislative aide and I, especially your legislative aide, as he builds the agenda, will scan everything in that the mayor or if you put a piece in, or if someone else gives us a piece, anything that we've given, any supporting documentation will be scanned in, and you'll be able to pull it up at each item. So item number 1, you'll be able to see the little icon and see what supporting documentation there is behind it, right? So the whole point, that's what the whole point of that tablet system is so everything is at your fingertips, starting noon, 1, 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, and you have all weekend. You don't have to wait for the mail to come, because by the time we do mail it Thursday, early evening, you may receive it Friday, you may receive it Saturday, and
Yeah.
depending on the PO, you might receive it Monday right before the meeting. I mean, because we've had issues where we've mailed things out, but you don't always get it right away.
Right, sometimes
And
I
it-
get it after Monday.
And we mail it at 1, 2 in the afternoon on a Thursday. That should be ample time to get it by at least Saturday, and it doesn't always happen. So the electronic copy will be much faster. I know that not everybody deals with electronics as much,
But
and I
it-
still try to be cognizant of
it's
that.
the
But
tablet
everything is
you're
going to go
talking
into that tablet.
The
So
tablet,
you'll,
right.
you'll have that at home, you'll have it here at the meetings. I'm trying to, it's going to save money with the paper, but I mean, I know there's some councils that still want it on paper, but the whole point of it is for the efficiency of it and how fast you can get
Mr.
it.
Chairman,
That's why we want to do it.
through you for Councilman Simelli, and that's all true. But I still
Okay,
believe,
now-
that the hard copy is the only legal document. In other words, there's a special meeting, and half of us didn't read it, just because we didn't. The meeting's not legal. Under the rule of the government, Congress, to the courts, that the hard copy is still, in America, the way to run a government in an efficient industry. Forget about efficiency for the departments.
Yeah.
What makes it legal is that it's in the mail, it's received by the councilman, and then he comes to the city hall. Through the electronics and all that is true, more efficient, but that's in the future because we don't have any rules and regulations for it yet. It's not a legal document. And you're asking a government official leader to come to a legal,
Meeting where they need notice.
with
Yeah.
So actually, just so you know, our legal
just
posting,
want a mindset to be that, regardless of the efficiency and all that craziness of it, if you're really looking to be efficient legally, it's a hard copy.
our postings are not done by, though they are done in paper by me and they have to be, the official posting for all meetings is electronic. The city's website is the new official posting. That's by state law. They allow us to do that. And the mayor signed the document saying so. So even posting of agendas and minutes are electronic, and that is the official
If the state
version.
actually does that, Mr. Chairman.
They've done it.
We need to look into the state doing what the clerk needs to get done and the clerk committees and the legislative aid in order to make it legal.
But just so you know, going forward, at least temporarily, the legislative aid on Thursday afternoon will be hand-delivering packets to your house. That is how we're going to do it, at least through the end of the year.
Okay. Well, that takes care of that.
And then we're going to go
We'll go
forward
from
and
there.
see how that works. You know, I'm not making any decision for you guys.
Yeah.
So I want to test things because I think
Sure.
it is my job as the city clerk to try to make things as efficient, as best as possible. If it doesn't work for everybody, we won't use it for everybody. But there are many of you that rather not get a packet of 400 pages of paper over the weekend, and you want to see it in a PDF form on your computer, and some of you don't. Doesn't have to be a one-size-fit-all rule either.
Right.
That's why also in here, it doesn't say which way I have to give it. I can give it anyway. So if you have a personal
There's a
preference, that's how we'll
preference,
do it. And if you
Okay.
don't, I'm going to send it out electronically, both to save money, to give you the most efficient document, and to have it in your hand the fastest way I possibly can.
Yep.
So,
Counselor Hanlon, you had a question?
Yeah, I think that somewhere along the way, just sort of recently, like within the last year, or maybe 2 years ago, that the government did pass something saying that electronic was okay, as
Yeah.
long as the very final thing that you put in archive is, on a
on paper,
form.
correct.
Yeah.
That's under the open meeting law.
So that this,
Yeah.
we receive this electronically and everything, but the last thing that goes into the vault or into a book or something, it's got to be paper, and it's got to be a
Correct.
special kind of paper, and it's got to be preserved and all that.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
I think
And,
that-
and, and I think at the heart of it, it's about notice. It's about getting that notice within the 48 hours. And there will be different individuals that prefer different mediums. And I guess we can kind of figure that out.
Yep.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
I'm not trying to dictate.
Sure. Yeah, at the end of the day, you need to be able to do your job. And if that means getting the paper, we'll
Yeah,
see what we can do.
do whatever I
And-
can.
And our clerks is amenable to it, so I don't think that'd be a problem.
One more
Sure.
question to the clerk.
Yes.
For special meetings then,
Mhm.
It's going to be on a Friday or a Wednesday morning or something. How do we get that notification?
Same thing.
Same thing
Well,
electronically?
I mean, we just, so you know, we always send it no matter what, we're going to send it electronically.
Yeah.
It may not be the only version. We're going to send it to all 11 electronically, but if there are preferences that you also get in paper, But I'd rather give you more than less.
Yeah.
So the electronic one costs me nothing. It just hits a button. If I hit a button with 10 of yous or 11 yous on the email, it's the same thing for me. But then if you request a paper copy, then we'll do that.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think
And
that works.
there's still some time. This isn't a rush. I'm not making any, I told you.
Sure.
This isn't my decision. I'm not making a decision
Yep.
for you. I do intend to discuss it with you by the end of the year.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Any other questions on page 13?
No, I'm-
Okay, we'll move to page 14.
See, we took everything out of Rule 14, just about.
That's because it was found it was illegal.
Okay.
Under the open meeting law.
Yeah, yeah.
That takes precedence. So some of these things were carried over prior to the open meeting law being amended in 2010. So that's why if you saw it fully deleted, that's why.
Are we good on 14?
I'm okay.
Okay, we're on page 15. Are we good on 15? There were no changes made on 16. There were no changes made on 17. That brings us to page 18. If there are no questions, we'll move to page 19. All right, we'll go to page 20.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I go back to page 18?
Absolutely. On page 18.
Rule
Counsel.
26, item B,
Mhm.
the rule of necessity should only be used as a last resort and upon prior written advice from the city solicitor's office. In the middle of a meeting, I find out that I have to be ruled by the rule of necessity. I don't have prior written notice from the city solicitor.
Yeah, we got rid of prior written so that it could be oral advice if the city solicitor were here.
Because
She
she,
could actually come forward and render an opinion, and you would be
Excused.
protected by that.
Either excused or allowed to stay.
Exactly.
because she's required by law, by ordinance to be at every meeting. So that way you always know you have the solicitor here.
Yeah.
And I think that was what Council Capone and I
Yeah,
discussed.
because otherwise, she could be here in person, and she'd have to write on a piece of paper
Yeah,
and
right, right,
hand it to you,
Okay, no,
so.
that's okay.
Okay, was that the only question at 18?
That was it.
Okay, that brings us back to 20.
Okay. So looking at this, I'm on 20 and Rule C,
Mhm.
about the president leaving the chair. He has to leave the chair before he debates.
Correct,
Before, okay. So if he wants to be part of the debate, he has to be on the floor.
correct. Any other questions on 20?
No, but going into 21,
Okay.
I had a question, if I could.
On page 21?
Yeah, which is, it's tied in, it's number I on 20, it goes
Okay.
into 21.
Sure.
So just so you know, we've come into the issue sometimes, president has a job during the day and sometimes cannot get here to sign these. In our legislative code, you give me some authority to do some of this. And I just, not that I want the responsibility, but I think it's good sometimes where if the council president can't make it up and something needs to be ordered, if he gives me the authority to do so, he knows, as long as he's aware of what we're ordering, for me to sign off it as your department head also would make sense. It's up to you, but as long as he knows, I think.
Yeah, would you think it would be better to put in something, the president or his designee?
Yeah.
And then that way.
Yeah, and that's it. Just something
Okay.
as simple as that. We've fallen into that before, and he's allowed me, but I want it in the rules where it's.
Okay. Do the members understand what we're talking about with that? This is on page 21. If office supplies have to be ordered,
Or something.
currently under the rules, our president is the only one that can do it. So if we add language that says, or his designee, whoever the president is could call the city clerk and say, look, we need stuff, or the city clerk could reach out and say, we need stuff, and the president says, I'm working today, I can't order it, go ahead and do it. That would be okay,
Okay.
by putting in the designee.
Yeah, it's more for emergencies, and it has happened a few times. I just feel comfortable it written in there than me actually signing it without it written in there.
Sure, no, and that's the better way to go.
I need to go back a page. I need to go back one.
Sure.
Page 20?
20,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Item D, voting by the president.
yep,
It says, the president may vote on all measures which are put to a vote. But if the president chooses not to vote for a measure, he must leave the council chambers.
Mhm.
That's in opposition of each other. The president may vote on all measures. Doesn't say he shall vote on all measures.
Right.
Says he may vote. But if the president chooses not to vote, that conflicts with it.
well, actually, if it's shall, the shall is what
Conflicts it.
conflicts,
No, it
because it
says
gives them the
may.
option to leave.
Right, that's why
So-
we took me out.
Yeah, so where it says may, is the president can opt they can vote. If they're in the chamber, they have to. But if they choose not to, they leave. But if we leave it the way it was,
The president
yeah,
doesn't have to vote.
Correct, but he can't sit there.
He can't sit in the chair,
So we don't use
yeah.
abstaining. Robert's rules we don't allow abstaining in the chamber. You have to get up and go. We've had that issue with a
Yeah.
counselor before. They had to get up and leave the chamber.
Yeah.
So he may vote. If he says, no, I don't want to vote, he can't sit there and
Right.
abstain
right.
and let the rest of them vote. He has to get up, relinquish the chair, and go out back until the voting for that order is done.
Right.
That's how we do it.
And if we leave it as
Mr.
shall,
Burley.
he's got no choice.
Yeah, we had to do that with Councilor McLaughlin last year. He tried to abstain, and we did not allow it. Council, the clerk and I
Yeah.
had this discussion, because it was the first time that I've ever seen anybody try to abstain in a long time. And we remembered that it doesn't allow abstaining in our
No,
chamber.
'cause
Yeah.
I know when I was president, I didn't want to vote, I just didn't vote.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, we don't allow
Kept
it.
going,
yeah.
you know.
Well, they'll probably got drowned in the way, so.
So
And if
what
we
we're
left
saying
it,
now-
if we left it at shall, they have no choice.
Okay, so,
The meter should allow you to do
So
Roberts
Roberts
doesn't. Does not allow you to abstain,
so what we're saying now,
because it's under Robert's rules.
the guy, but now the president has to leave the chair.
If they don't want to vote, yeah.
Has to get, now, he
Right.
can do that at the end of this, when the vote comes along and says, I choose not to vote?
No, he has to get up and leave this chamber as the vote is happening.
Yeah, so
He
probably
cannot be-
before the roll is called, I would imagine.
I would say.
Whole half hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stay here.
Oh, yeah.
And then when it comes time to vote, he just walks out.
Before that roll gets read, he's going to have to sign that chair and step out.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And,
Any other questions on 20?
No, but maybe
You
that
had-
motion, we never made a motion for the,
Yeah, we're going to.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
We had to really put vaping in here?
I guess it's the sign of the times. Because you could have someone sit there go, I'm not smoking, I'm vaping.
Vaping.
Yeah,
And Counselor Simonelli through Mr. Saya was moved to amend to put or his designee on section I. Is there a second on that? That's the one where the president was ordering supplies. We had that language, we didn't
Oh, yeah,
formally
we
adopt
just did
that.
that, didn't we?
Well, we didn't get there.
Oh,
So we
okay.
started to. So we have a motion, and then if we can get a second from you, we're good.
Oh, I'll second.
Okay, moved and second to amend that portion. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we're trucking along. We're on page 22.
On item K, on page 22.
Yes.
The president shall prohibit the display of political signs of any description from city council chambers. A year or so ago, I think we had someone in the back of the room had a sign, didn't say anything about it, said, you know, something about no city council or something or other. Was it, when we were doing that, that DACA rule?
Oh, it may have been about, it may have been an issue, but not political.
Correct.
But
Yeah,
I guess, what's our definition of political sign?
yeah.
Are we saying candidates for office? I think we're primarily meaning candidates for office, but it might require more definition. But I think if you go beyond candidate for office, it might be hard to kind of police it.
Yeah, then you have freedom of speech. As long as
Yeah.
you're not being disruptive,
Yeah,
I think that's why we didn't
Unle-
change it.
yeah, John, unless it's for us, then we're okay. Yeah. All right. Any other questions on page 22?
Councilman Sire always had a tire sticker, or a Scottsburg sticker.
Yep.
And he would bring it in, put it down like that. Perhaps that was inappropriate. It didn't last for long, it was one time.
All right. So then we're on page 23. And the biggest change you see here is the 5-minute rule, and we all know what we've been dealing with that. I know our clerk had mentioned that he wanted
If
to...
you saw in the email, that's what I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
So it was just something that had been brought up to me, and I can't remember who brought it up to me, but, so I wrote, I would like to look further into the 5-minute rule section specifically regarding the multiple times people can speak, an issue that was raised at many meetings, but especially the last meeting. So, there is something in here that, so I think it's a little unclear. So we always use the president has stated you can't have or councilors have stated, well, you can't speak a third time, right? But, I mean, I think we're lost on where that is, because I know I am a little bit. So it says, except that when otherwise provided, no member shall speak for more than 5 minutes on a single issue, measure, during the debate of the members on said measure. We've added, the time spent responding to a member's inquiry shall not be counted towards the 5 minutes. The president or the clerk shall monitor the time a member speaks, which is great. No member shall be recognized to speak a second time during the debate of the members on said measure if another member who has not spoken during the debate of the members on said measure seeks recognition.
Right.
Looks like we've stricken out C, which is by a majority voted for further time to speak on a single measure. So does that mean we are now completely eliminated any more speaking after the
No,
second time?
it would
Or is
be
that
a-
now we're just opening up to as many times as we want until
My
we've made a
understanding,
decision?
and I'll defer, because we all have our opinions, so my understanding would be you get to speak twice as a matter of right.
Correct.
And obviously, if someone else hasn't spoken
They always
yet,
go
then you have
first.
to wait your turn.
Mhm.
And then, after that, you don't get to speak more than 2 times unless the body suspends the rule and allows a member to speak, because otherwise you could speak 53 times.
Right.
You know, at some point, we're going to get tired of even our own voices, so.
That's fine. No, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Does
'cause
that make
you-
sense?
You know, it's come out many
Yeah.
times
Oh,
in our
sure.
meetings lately, and I want to make sure I
Absolutely.
understand the rule as clerk, so when we
Oh,
do it. So I
absolutely.
want to make sure, because it
Yeah.
comes from me, the ruling, so I
Yeah,
want to
and
make sure I
we want to
understand
make sure
it.
that the members are very clear with
Right.
what it is, too.
Right.
So you
Okay,
can
that's
speak.
fine. That was the only question I
Yeah.
had, so I just wanted
So-
to review
And
it.
we can put language in if you want, but I think that the
No,
way it
that's okay.
sets, it lets everyone know that they can speak twice on the matter.
And then we have to
you
suspend
don't get a
rules
third
anymore.
time unless the membership agrees. Yeah, you
A
suspend the
majority
rules
of the
and-
members. Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
And that's
Perfect.
5 minutes, right?
I just wanted to
5
address
minutes.
it.
That's the 5-minute rule, yep,
Thank you.
sure. Any other questions about page 23? Okay. Brings us to 24. Nothing was changed on 24. Then 25, I think we just inserted in utilities for the, I think
Yeah.
there was a merger of the committee. Is that what the idea
Correct.
what that was?
We're going
Okay.
to amend this, so when we do it, technically, we do have a utilities committee, so we're deleting that, and in here, we're going to state
merge
that.
it
In my
with business
in my
and community
rules, so when we make it, it's a deletion of, deleting the utilities committee and inserting it as that.
Okay. Any questions on page 25 with that change? That brings us to 26. Is everybody good on 26?
Okay, we
Yep.
can't, We could take away a committee report, I mean, a committee position?
Sure.
Or chairman's
Yeah,
position?
that's about as much as you really can do. If you're talking about a member, you can take away a committee chairmanship, a committee assignment, and you could do like a public censure reprimand, but that's as much as you can do.
That's a big deal,
That's huge.
you know, I mean, if you.
That's
if you
huge.
Think of it, that's never been done before.
No, and that's as much power and authority that we have.
As big a deal as you think.
Yeah, depends.
Some people might want that.
Yeah. Some might people like do it on purpose. They
Live
go-
with it.
But yeah, censoring a member, there's no bigger penalty that a body can impose.
on each other.
That's as much as you can do. And then it's really up to the voters if there's something bigger than that. But if you censor one of your members, you can't do any bigger than that.
It says, said report shall not prevent the city council from taking any other action as it deems advisable and appropriate. And I suppose that if there is something that's really bad, some violation of a major law or
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah, God forbid a criminal issue,
Yeah,
you know?
you could do something.
You could refer it out to the DA's office or something of
Can't
that
come
nature.
back until he's cleared of all, whatever. But it says anything, it says any other action
Yeah.
that you'll deem advisable, so we can still do a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's in your limits, though.
Yeah, within our limits. I don't think we couldn't stop a member from coming in. Even if we thought something was reprehensible, we don't have the authority, because the ultimate authority is the voters. So we really get all of our authority from the voters. So there's a very limited amount of stuff that we can do to the membership, but, any of those steps, that's a pretty big deal. To censor a member is a pretty big deal, and it's not something that should be entered into lightly. All right, we good on 26? That brings us to 27. I guess it could be anything up to 4. Is not more than 4. So it could be 3, You might have a special committee that nobody wants to be on, except for 3 people.
That's it. There's a
There
committee
you
of
go.
2.
All right, does 27 look okay?
No,
Yep.
on D, the last one, it says, the chairman should preside at all sessions of the committee. He may vote on all measures. He shall
We cut that.
temporarily assign the chair to another member if he participates in debate.
We deleted it.
Such
We got rid
assignment
of all
shall
that.
not continue beyond adjournment.
We don't need
Yeah,
that.
we got rid of all that, because you don't need it. in the
Committee structure, you don't need
structure.
I'm reading what you crossed out.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna say, cross out. Okay.
it's a little less formal.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to 28. Okay, brings us to 29. I don't believe there are any changes on 29, but you can take a look and see if there's any.
Go back to 28.
Sure.
Let's
Oh,
talk
sure.
about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what's the question?
So the clerk and I, well, the clerk believes that it's okay with us, so if we have a committee of 4, that in our rules and order, rules allow us to
I
have,
could've swore that there was an order for
so
school, but
that you can have 2 members constitute a quorum. I don't, and
Yeah,
we've been
'cause-
bantering back and forth about this. I don't believe that's, that we can. He thinks that our rules can allow it. I don't.
definitely a policy.
Robert, but I don't think, I don't remember anything, not since I've been in office, so the last 3 years, I don't remember any such thing. Doesn't mean it didn't exist, but I can't
Okay.
find it in my papers. So in my just an opinion, which
well, the
means
way-
nothing, but it's just one opinion, that
Yeah.
I think you need the 3.
Yeah, the
I
way it's
understand
written
that
is
it's a committee
majority,
structure and
so,
it's
yeah.
a different thing, but I just don't feel that, and though Robert's rules allow it, I don't think open meeting law does. And again,
Yeah.
I haven't got an official ruling, so I can do that. But, and I understand the clerk's opinion, because it's a committee structure, which is less,
Sure.
it's more
Right.
recommendation,
Use as an
recommendatory?
example, Going back to the days we had the bicameral system before,
Mhm.
the perfect example, we would have a budget meeting. A quorum of 6 people was signed out of 25 people.
Right,
Wow.
right.
For a budget hearing.
Understand that.
And with 4 people, it's either we go back up to 5, and, not try to get
Right.
into open meeting violations, but it's very difficult for people to maintain,
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I think, and again, it's just an opinion that and I will get a ruling, so that way we can be, I don't think the open meeting law allows it.
It's not something that we need to do right now.
Yeah, no, it's something that
Yeah.
we look into. I
Yeah.
just, for now, because I feel
Yeah.
more comfortable,
I-
until I get a ruling, I
Yeah.
like to see 3.
Well, you have to
Yeah.
remember, this is just a recommended body, so.
Correct.
no
Correct. No
legitimate
final-
action
Yeah.
And
to the regular-
Correct.
I agree with that,
Yeah.
but they also have fined groups
Yeah.
that have had more than the quorum,
Yeah. I'd err on-
where they have a majority of the members.
Yeah.
So I just want to err on the side of caution
Yeah,
until we get a
that's what I was
ruling.
just going to say. I'd err on the side of caution, especially where our rules say majority.
And
It's
I'm not
clear cut.
I'm not saying the clerk is
Yeah.
wrong.
No, no.
I don't know 100%.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will look
I
into
think
it.
it's something that's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, and I will. I just,
And, I
for
mean,
now, my
so-
opinion is
Yeah.
just,
Better
status
safe
quo
than
might be the
sorry.
best. I'd rather be
Better
safe than
safe than
sorry and
sorry,
not get in
so.
trouble, just in case.
Yeah, no, that sounds
So I'm going to
good.
write a note, and I will check with open meeting law tomorrow, and they'll
Sounds
give us
good.
a ruling within the week.
Excellent.
We are talking about 38B, aren't we?
42A, talking about quorum, on page 28.
All right, I sort of bounced back to 27,
We on page 27?
yeah,
Okay.
just because of what they said, I thought you were talking about page 27.
What did, okay, so do you have a question on
Yeah,
27?
the special committee of the city council should consist of not more than 4 members,
Yep.
okay?
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if that's what we're talking about here?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay,
No.
okay,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But not more than 4 members is kind of bad language, because that means, if I'm reading this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to appoint 1.
Could be a special committee of one.
Yeah, that-
I don't know how effective that would be, but,
So I think it should say,
Well, you can, if you want to do
Yeah,
it,
you
shall
could say-
consist of 3,
you
but
could
not
say-
more than 4.
at
you could
least
say
3,
no
but
less
not
than,
more
yeah,
four,
no
If you
less
want to do
than-
that, that's easy
Yeah,
enough.
however you want
I
to do
think,
it.
At least 3, but not more than 4.
Otherwise, John, you can have 1.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what, you
You
don't
could
want
send
that.
somebody else to.
Yeah, you could-
Investigative
Yeah,
committee.
I mean,
Whatever
I can't,
subject.
I can't think of when you would do it, but you could say, okay, Council Simonelli, you are a special committee of 1, go check out that pothole and let us know what you think. I mean, you could, but
You can. But if
I
you
don't know how
want to-
effective it would be.
And isn't one,
But-
you can't get a majority out of one person?
You might have a problem with a majority out of 1, yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, you want, so I wrote it as 3, not more
Yeah.
than 4, if you want to make that amendment.
Yeah, we could,
I don't know. It's
whatever
up to
you
you
want to do.
guys.
You could even say no less than 2, no more than 4.
Well, it's got to be 3, but not less than 4. At least 3 and not more than 4.
So we could say consist of a minimum of 3, not more than 4.
Thank you.
Okay?
Now, what page are we on? 40?
Well, you gotta,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
you gotta
number
make a motion
27.
first, Mr.
Yeah.
That's on 27, so we have that motion on the floor from Councilor Hanlon. Do we have a second? So moved and second to amend that language in paragraph 38B. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have amended. All right, so now, I think we were at 28, and were we done with 28, moving our way to 29, or no? Do we need 28?
I didn't see anything on 28.
28 was where we were talking about the quorum. That was 42A. And at this point in time, our rules say a majority, so in the committee structure of 4, it has to be 3 right now.
Yeah, so it's not a majority.
Okay. So we'll move on to page 29. There's no changes on 29. And if the membership is happy with the current state of number 29, we'll move to 30. Any
Now,
questions
we're
on
looking
page
at
30? Yep,
46A,
yep,
and it says that it shall stay in the committee until the expiration of 3 committee meetings, or 8 weeks. Now,
Whichever is greater.
Does this mean, I hope it means that the clerk does not have to report out at all?
yeah, exactly, right? It stays in committee
Not
without
until
having
the
to
end.
ask for permission.
Right, at the end of the third meeting, for example, there's a couple of pieces on there
Yeah.
tonight,
Yeah.
we would have to do that. I would then refer that back to the regular.
To the body, yep.
For an
With
extension.
the motion to grant for tonight, then it would be up to the body to vote on it.
Yeah.
We just gave it a little more time.
Yeah, give it a little more
Counselor,
time, 'cause
It was
some-
6 weeks sometimes isn't enough, because
Yeah.
this is the body,
Sure.
don't forget, this is the body that you do your work. You don't want it on the meetings. This is the whole point of our committee structure, is to get into the nitty-gritty, especially about ordinances and things.
Any questions on 30? All right. How about 31?
We're going to get into a problem with the president's absence or the president's assignment of the chair.
Nope, because the seniority is, there is a definition for seniority.
Yeah, but can the president assign someone that's not the senior member?
Oh, let's see, I think,
Of a regular meeting, he can appoint whoever he wants if he's going to step out of the chair, you mean? Did you mean?
He can
While
appoint-
he's at a meeting,
Yeah,
but not in a committee.
yeah.
not a committee, no.
Committee, it's up to the chairman.
I'm sorry, committee of the whole, well, this is
Yeah,
committee of the whole.
this is committee of the whole, yep.
Committee of
That's
the whole.
different, yeah.
Okay, for the committee of the whole then,
Yep.
the
If the president's not here.
senior member takes over.
Right.
But if the president is here and decides to leave, can he appoint someone?
Yes.
He can appoint, okay.
Okay.
I mean,
So now, the next group of items is the licenses that we all agree don't belong under our rules, and that takes us all the way up to page 45.
Are these all crossed out?
Yeah, they're all coming out.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So
Those
what
are all
page?
the ordinances that are coming
And
very
we'll
soon.
go up to page 45.
Actually, a few are
45.
already in front of you.
So these are not going to be in the rules anymore?
Nope, they're
Correct.
going to be in ordinance. Some are already there, and we're still gradually giving you more and more. I didn't want to throw it all at you at once. so.
Can we, any of those that don't have a really good thing, can we put them together as like a summary of several rules? I mean, several items, several licenses?
I'm sorry,
You
can
know,
you explain that?
We give out licenses for flowers,
Yeah,
and that's not a big deal.
right.
Can that be in a summary with also giving out a license to sell watermelons if we did such a thing?
Yeah, so we've kind of shrunk it down. We've made general procedures for everything.
Okay.
And then the more in-depth ones are more in-depth. The other ones that are very basic
Yeah.
are literally very basic. We've done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on page 45? That's where we just moved past all the licenses. Page 45 is our first
Okay.
page of rules that after we remove the license information.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Clerk. 51C is expiration of 1 year. We took out 2 years, but I thought it was 1 year.
No,
In
it's
our
two.
rules, it said 2, which was conflicting with city ordinance, which says 1. So we went to the
Yeah.
1 because that
Okay.
coincides,
Yep.
so that we weren't have conflicting rules and ordinances.
Any other questions on 45?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 52A.
52A, okay.
Myself included, we use cell phones here in the meeting. I've gotten several calls. Some of them I don't mean to, but they ring. So that's in and out, right? I shouldn't be making any phone calls at all.
No, no. I mean, obviously, if you, say you have someone at home who's ill and you got to work, you could put it on vibrate and monitor it, and if you need it, you could just leave the floor and take the call.
And that goes to our guests, too. No one should
Yeah.
be making calls in the chamber. We can use them, and that's why the tablets, again, will be great, because you'll be able to look up information right there. We're going to make it much easier for you to be accessible to the internet, which does help you guys during a meeting when you're looking for information, so.
All right. I don't think there are any changes on page 46, other than numbering. And that brings us to 47, and again, I think that was numbering.
Just numbering, yeah.
And then 48, I believe, is the last page with changes. Any questions on 48? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, that was a lot. And I want to thank the membership and our clerk and our legislative aide and our
Thank
clerk of committees for all the effort, because we really went through all the rules. There was a lot to be done there. You guys did a great job, and appreciate all the help from everybody. So, I guess the motion would be to refer this out as amended to the body for their consideration. Is there a motion to that extent?
Young,
Yep.
we'll do that.
Before we do that?
Send copies, I will send copies
Okay.
to me and the
But before we get
legislative
there, I
aide to
think
work on
Councilor
copies.
Hannon has a
What's
question.
with 49? 49, nothing?
Oh, just the history.
And some history has to be added, but I'm working on that.
It's just history, right?
Yeah, just history, like all this will be added as one amendment.
We're going to refer this out to the, okay.
Refer it out to the body as amended for favorable action.
Okay, I would like to, as soon as, how long do we have to keep this here? How long do we keep this here?
Oh, it's going to go out to our next meeting, I think.
Well, I mean, I want to go out as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so you know, there is a specific, a procedure when you do rules. So you'll go out to the body
Mm-hmm.
at that meeting agrees, you cannot vote up or down that meeting. It has to be sent out, I have to post it in the newspaper.
Yep.
Stating that the rules of the city council are being amended,
Mm-hmm.
and the copy is on file in the clerk's office, which I keep on my,
Sure.
my counter, reviewable by the city, anybody that wants to come and review it, and they can
Yep.
come up and discuss it. It's not a public hearing, but the residents are
They
allowed
do
to
have
come in.
access to
And they
it,
have
sure.
access to it, and allowed to come up and say at public participation or at the meeting to say, oh, no, I don't agree that you guys are changing this. That is their right.
Yeah. And at
So
the
that's
same
why we
time,
have
it
to
gives
do
the members more time.
And it
to
gives the members
review
more time, so I'm
yeah.
telling, that's why I'm giving you all that information.
But only during public participation.
No, so, actually, you're actually allowed, as a body, during committees, and I think this you're allowed to, invite people up, even if they were not invited, whether they're members of the body. Today, I got a ruling from the, you have to vote on it, it has to be a majority of the members, but you guys, at any point, if you want someone to come up and discuss something, if there's someone's adamant about a specific issue, public participation is just general comments.
Right.
Where we can't respond back. If somebody has something important to say, and maybe they came to you prior, and they want to tell the membership, and you want to allow them, you're allowed to do that. And with the rules specifically, I would say we shouldn't say no. If
Right.
somebody wants to come up and say something, whether good or bad, it
Sure.
is their right, it's the public's right. And that's why we post this in the paper, to give the opportunity to the public to come up and say, hey, I don't agree with you what you're changing, or I do agree, or whatever they want. So it is with a simple majority. At any meeting, you guys are allowed to let anyone come up and discuss it.
But you
Same
have
way
to
we
be
do.
careful, 'cause you also need, there may be an opposing group.
Oh, 100%, yeah, you don't,
I would say.
I'm not saying you should do it every
Yeah,
meeting, but I'm
yeah.
saying it is allowed.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
allowed.
If I may,
And it's, this is the reason it's allowed, for things like this that are very, they're important, that they have a right to say
Yeah.
something
This is going to go
about.
in the paper?
Yes, but not yet.
Eventually.
Because I have to, we have to wait to see what the body wants. If the
Yeah.
body, kind of agrees at that the next
Yeah.
meeting, then they'll refer to postpone it till the next meeting,
Yep.
and then I will post it in the
Post it
paper.
at that point.
That's
Yep.
the procedure. I
Absolutely.
do it with all the
Next
rules.
meeting, people could come up and talk on
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, yeah, there's
everybody
plenty
knows
of
that.
time
Yep, once-
for the
once it's on-
members and
once
the
it's
public to
posted.
talk on this. There's no,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be past the next 2 meetings, it can be 3 meetings.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's all
it-
up to you.
And with regards to people speaking at a committee, I know that it's academic at this point, but I would always err on the side of letting as many people talk as they want. So if you were going to have a point of view, I'd say whoever's in the room, you want to talk, talk,
Yeah.
and let them all,
Kind of an
Ideal
important thing, you know.
situation is to get this to the end of the summer.
Correct. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's, I agree.
yeah, we want to get this one
Anybody
done.
refer it back in the committee and have a new structure.
No.
That I wholeheartedly agree with.
Too much work went into
Yeah.
this. So
So,
the motion on here is to refer this out to the body as amended for favorable action. All right, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Unless there's anything else we have? I think we're good.
Anything else? We all done?
Okay. All right. We have adjourned.